He gave his life's blood for even me. Once I was lost in sin's dread valley, no hope within me could I find. I looked to heaven and saw my Savior. He saved a poor lost soul like me. Oh, what a Savior! Oh, hallelujah! His heart was broken on Calvary. His hands were nail scarred, his side was riven. He gave his life's blood for even me. Death's chilling waters I'll soon be crossing. His hands will guide me. His hands will guide me safely home. I'll join the chorus in that bright city, and I'll sing up there forevermore. Oh, what a Savior! Oh, hallelujah! His heart was broken on Calvary. His hands were nail scarred. His hands were nail scarred. His side was riven. He gave his life's blood for even me. He gave his life's blood for even me. Life's throwaways. Life is like a northern railroad with an engine here that's brave. You must make this run successful from the cradle to the grave. Watch the curve.
guys, take your seats. Get comfortable. It's been a nice day all day, and it just makes me mad, really enrages me, when I realize that the powers that be, or those who think they are the powers that be, are purposely destroying it and ruining it all. But they're going to get it. Remember the teaching we were teaching, Fighting Promises. I think it was in the book of Zechariah where it says, he who touches you touches the apple of God's eye. Well, they're touching me on this one. They're touching you and me, and they're going to get it. In the meanwhile, we're going to learn somewhat of what they're doing and how and why. This is advanced, what I would call university graduate level teaching on the subject. So if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. You can listen in, but you may also want to tune in last week's message to find out the foundation that we're expanding on tonight. Having said all that, I now want to say hello to everybody. This is the Children of the Free Church Ministry. My name is Charles Garcia. I'm the teaching pastor. This is a faith-based ministry. It's been founded on the teaching of Christ, the Apostle Paul, and Dr. Gene Scott. Tune in live every Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for the teaching, and also tune in to the archives, which are available on childrenofthefree.com and on YouTube 24/7 for free to catch up and to refresh. The message tonight, heavy duty, weird, bordering on Twilight Zone. Matter of fact, I may reference a particular Twilight Zone episode in the context of what we're teaching. The study's been hard. I've been telling you for 2 or 3 weeks I've been struggling with this. It was no exaggeration. I've been struggling with it. I've been studying for several days, and yesterday had a 16-hour study marathon. I'm not saying this for your pity. I want you to realize the difficulty and the resistance I'm getting on all those around me from carrying this forward. Now last week, remember last week's teaching? Did anybody repeat it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Last week we started a 2-part series with new information on demonology and much, much more. And we may wind up having to teach several messages on this subject, depending on what I'm able to lay down tonight. Now, tonight's teaching, I want to start out by acknowledging that a lot of it came from studying under Dr. Scott, from my own private study, from studying George Pember, who wrote a book in the 1800s called Earth's Earliest Ages. And he talks about the gap theory we taught about last week. And also most recently by Timothy Alberino, which is a highly intelligent young scholar on this subject. Now we're going to be talking about some things that are scary, creepy, and alarming. But we should cut them away from this teaching with a fully informed understanding of what's behind it all. Last week, we taught about the pre-Adamic world before Adam was created, and the antediluvian world before the flood. And we taught about prior creations here on earth and destructions that took place, and about various human and non-human entities. Tonight, we're going to carry out that foundation to its conclusion, and we're going to expand on some of last week's teaching as we do this. We'll start at the beginning like we did last week, and you'll remember when we taught from Genesis, in the very beginning, where we said that in the beginning, gods, translating Elohim, which is plural, gods created the heaven and the earth. It actually says heavens, plural. It's not just our planet, our solar system, our galaxy, the Milky Way, but billions of galaxies that were created. So in the beginning, gods created the heavens, plural, and the earth, but the earth became a waste and a desolation. We taught that from the Hebrew phrase tohu wabohu, which means waste and desolation. We supported that teaching from the book of Jeremiah, where he also saw an early destruction of earth when there was no man here. He saw the earth when there was no man, but he did see what was translated as cities from the word ayar, which is a Hebrew word meaning gathering places of intelligent beings. So this pre-Adamic earth was a world of non-human civilization. Then God created man, or what he called Adam, which was a new creation never seen before. And just beyond the creation we taught last week, God tells Adam to go and replenish the earth. Not plenish, replenish. That means and supports that there was something here before. And that's translating the Hebrew word maleh, which means to fill. So there was an earlier earth, pre-Adamic, that was destroyed. Just like when Noah's time came along and he sent the flood. After the flood, he told Noah to go and replenish, maleh, the earth. Now, in Noah's day, the flood was sent because God's creation, the Adam, had been contaminated by fallen angels, what we call watchers. And those watchers procreated with human women and with animals and every other living thing. And they created, this is where they created things in legend like the Minotaur, which the top half is a bull, the bottom half is a man, and centaurs and other monsters. The offsprings of the angels and the human cohabitation with human females were giants, what they call Nephail. Sometimes they say Nephilim. These were hybrids, part angel, part human. Because of the angelic side, these beings were intellectually far superior, and they used high technology, and they taught heavenly secrets to the Adam, to mankind that was down here. Also, the angelic side was eternal, giving rise to what we call demons. Now, these advanced, superior entities are demonic, very powerful beings. Remember the teaching on Ephesians last week. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Satan, way back in the beginning, tried to be like God and was cast down. He wants to be like God. He wants to be God. And with that motivation driving him, and these superior hybrid offspring, why does he not simply take over? Great question, isn't it? There's an answer to it. He doesn't have the authority. I want you to go with me to Genesis 1:26, where we were last week, because I want to point something else out there. God gave the Adam authority over all the earth. To Satan, he gave authority over, in quotes, the world. That means the kingdoms of this world and the affairs of man. Let me join you there. Genesis. Whoop. Helps to open the right side of the Bible. Genesis 1:26. And we taught there last week because we were teaching how God created not man, Ishi as man. He created Adam out of what? The pulverized stuff. Remember that?
Yes.
God said, let us make the Adam in our image after our likeness, and let them, the Adam, have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. God created man in his own image. The image of God created he him, male and female created he them, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and what? Replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. That is where the authority was given to the Adam, to humankind down here, that keeps Satan and his cohorts from simply just taking over. They're more powerful than us. They're more intelligent than us. They have more advanced technology, more advanced weaponry. And based on all that, they could just take over. But no, they don't have the authority. The angelic beings combined angelic genetic material with humans. The reason they did this is to eventually and ultimately take over. We'll teach more on this to come, but also the hybrids need to occupy bodies. They also, besides cohabitating with women, they cohabitated, like I was saying, with animals. And they made offspring by those unions. Part human, part animal, no soul. The human soul cannot enter them because they're part animal. And the animal, for lack of a better word, I'll put it in quotes, for animal, souls couldn't enter it because they're part human. So these entities simply download themselves into the bodies. Now, the Book of Enoch, which we've taught on before here, which was part of the Bible till the American and British Bible societies took it out. They're part of the Apocrypha. The Book of Enoch unfolds Genesis 6. And we're going to go there now to read some of it. Enoch walked and talked with God, and Enoch, in the sense of what we're going to talk about now, I was going to say gopher. He wasn't a gopher, but he was a go-between between the watchers and God. God would say, Enoch, go tell the watchers thus and so. And the watchers would say, go tell God, we're sorry, to save us, and so on. He was going back and forth between them. Chapter 7 of the Book of Enoch, you can't go there unless those of you who may have a copy of it. It happened after the sons of men, which are what? The Adam, had multiplied in those days, that daughters were born unto them, elegant and beautiful. And when the angels, the sons of heaven, the sons of the Elohim that we taught last week, beheld them, they became enamored of them, saying to each other, come, let us select for ourselves wives from the broad progeny of men, and let us beget children. Their leader, Samyaza, said to them, I fear that you may perhaps be indisposed to the performance of this enterprise. So he's saying, I'm afraid you guys are going to chicken out. And they all said, these angels, shortly become fallen angels, said, well, we're not going to chicken out. We're going to swear that we're going to do this. We're going to stick together and do this. Obviously, I'm encapsulating this. So they swore all together, and the whole number of them was 200. And they descended. These are the names of their chiefs: Samyaza, who was their leader, Oraka Baramiel, Akibiel, Tamiel, Ramuel, Danel, Azkiel, Sarakuyal, Asael, Armers, Betrayal, Onane, Zavebe, Samseviel, Ertael, Turel, Yomael, Araziel. So these are personal, eternal beings with personal names that were created by God. And these that we've named here were the prefects or the leaders of the 200 angels that came down with them. Then they took wives, each choosing for himself whom they began to approach, with whom they cohabitated, teaching them sorcery, incantation, the dividing of roots and trees, and they, conceiving, brought forth giants, whose stature was 300 cubits. These devoured all which the labor of men produced until it became impossible to feed them. They turned themselves against men in order to devour them. And they began to injure birds, beasts, reptiles, fishes, to eat their flesh and to drink their blood. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, and made them see that which was behind them. I don't know if we're talking about those things that they have in cars now. What do they call? There's a catchphrase where you can see behind you when you're back up. Or it could simply be mirrors, rear view mirrors of some kind. He made them see that which was behind them, and the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments and the use of paint, and the beautification of the eyebrows, and the use of stones of every valuable and select kind, amid all sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. The world didn't become altered because of the dyes, because all of the above. The world became altered. Impiety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways. Amzarach taught all the sorcerers and the dividers of roots. Armers taught the solution of sorcery. Barkael taught the observers of the stars. Achabiel taught signs. Tamiel taught astronomy. And Asaradel taught the motion of the moon. And men being destroyed because of all this cried out, and their voice reached unto heaven. Book of Enoch chapter 9 says, and then Michael, these are the good archangels, Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, Suriel, and Uriel, looked down from heaven and saw the quantity of blood which was shed on the earth, and all the iniquity that was done upon it, and said one to another, it's the voice of their cries that they were hearing. The earth, deprived of her children, has cried even to the gates of heaven. We're talking to God, and they say, thou hast seen what Azazel has done, how he has taught every species of iniquity upon the earth, has disclosed to the world all the secrets which are done in the heavens. Samyaza has also taught sorcery, to whom thou hast given authority over those who are associated with him. They have gone together to the daughters of men and lain with them and become polluted. And verse 8 says, the women likewise have brought forth giants. Chapter 10, then the Most High, the great and holy one, spoke, and he sent Arsayalayur to the son of Lamech, which is who? You guys know who the son of Lamech is? Noah. Sent him to the son of Lamech, saying to him, say to him in my name, conceal thyself. Get the heck out of Dodge, he's telling him. Then explain to him the consummation which is about to take place. For all the earth shall perish. The waters of a deluge shall come over the whole earth, and all things which are in it shall be destroyed. Now teach him how he may escape, and how his seed may remain in all the earth. Again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel, hand and foot, cast him into darkness, in the opening of the desert which is in Dudael, and cast him in there. Throw upon him hurled and pointed stones, covering him with darkness. Put flesh and blood on this. We're not talking about something out of the Lord of the Rings, although the type is there. And there he shall remain forever. Cover his face that he may not see the light. And the great day of judgment, let him be cast into the fire. Talks about that in Revelation 20. Restore the earth which the angels have corrupted, and announce to it that I may revive it. All the sons of men shall not perish in consequence of every secret by which the watchers have destroyed, and which they have taught their offspring. All the earth has been corrupted by the teaching of the work of Azazel. To him, therefore, ascribe the whole crime. Then God said to Gabriel, go to the biters, to the reprobates, to the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, the offspring of the watchers from among men. Verse 15, to Michael, likewise said the Lord, go and announce his crime to Samyaza and to the others that are with him. Bind them for 70 generations underneath the earth, even to the day of judgment. Tonight's lesson is not all about the Book of Enoch, but it does go on to say immediately after this judgment, he, Samyaza, together with them, burn and perish. He tells Michael, destroy all the souls addicted to dalliance and the offspring of the watchers. These watchers came down in the days of Jared, it says in Scripture. Oddly enough, Jared means to come down. So they came down in the days of to come down. And from the days of Jared to the flood, where they were destroyed, is more than 1,000 years. I want to say parenthetically, look how far just this nation has come in the last couple hundred years. Imagine more than 1,000 years. Men were taught heavenly secrets, knowledge, and technology for over 1,000 years. Physics in the Bible, as you notice, was different. There's evidence to think they're describing and talking about interdimensional travel, about anti-gravity. Angels use technology. In the book of Ezekiel, when he sees that chariot come down, wheels within wheels spinning and all kinds of weird lights and strange sounds, is describing a vehicle. It's ignorant. It's an ignorant notion to conclude that all the creatures and beings and entities and life forms are only the ones we know. There are many, many more. But it's of most importance to us to understand what I'm going to say in quotes, the days of Noah, pre-flood earth, the antediluvian world, in order to learn what's coming. We need to learn about the roots of evil. We are now seeing the fruits of evil. We need to learn more about the roots of evil. Things are going on the earth, above the earth, and under the earth. And behind it all is Satan and Luciferianism, which began in Eden. And remember, he said, eat, go ahead and eat of that fruit. You won't die. You'll be like God. And the earth has been run by a satanic priesthood all the way from Babylon and the mystery religions. There were then, and there are now, sacrifices, human sacrifices going on, as well as the drinking of blood, even today, including probably a major world religious institute, which I won't name, but I'll give you 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count. These evil beings are always the power behind the thrones. The power behind the thrones. But they do have influence, and they are worshipped. Again, why not just take over? They can't. Authority, the authority issue. And God enforces man's authority down here on earth. Thus, I repeat, the priesthood began in Babylon, and man began then to abdicate by trickery and by counterfeits his authority to Lucifer. Remember, the devil is a cheater. He can't cheat God, but he's a cheater. The human race still has authority down here for now. There is a forbidden world involving interaction with demons, mediums, sorcery, witchcraft, in general, the occult. And these acts always create a gateway. And the entities are waiting there. They can't wait to get through. They're not just seizing the opportunity. They're waiting for the gateway to open up. Now, Satan's plan has always been that since he can't, because of the reasons I told you, invade us directly because of the issue of authority, he will infiltrate to overcome. There is a great deception coming. Meanwhile, there are ongoing deceptions to confuse and to blind us to what's going on. This includes demons, ghosts, spirits, so-called extraterrestrials, all demonic facades and counterfeits designed to mislead. And know that it's always a willful choice for man to allow evil to enter. They know this, and they do things to fool and to trick. UFOs coming to take us away. The only way to save ourselves from the great deception to come is to learn what the Luciferians are doing. They have a plan. Even though they're constrained from open takeover, they have a plan. The Watchers came down, and the hybrids that were produced, like I said before, are the powers behind the thrones, and their progeny are multidimensional, what they used to call demigods, and the chariots of the gods, demigods that existed here on earth and still do. And that exposure to these demigods or godmen led to an explosion in knowledge and technology over 1,000 years. We are now deriving technology from the technology that existed then. Angels use technology, I told you. If the angels didn't need it or don't need it, technology, why do they have it? And why did they teach it? What about so-called extraterrestrials? They're not from another planet or another solar system. They're demonic, multi-dimensional beings and entities that are used in part to deceive, saying they created us. They're coming back to save us, for example. They are abducting people and mutilating animals and humans to gather DNA and trying to create hybrid, part human species. These extraterrestrial entities, they're superior to us intellectually, and they have powers and advanced weaponry way beyond us. Why don't they just take over authority? In research that's been done, in every abduction case studied, where the name or the blood of Christ is invoked, the experience halts right then and there. Now, why would Martians or beings from Alpha Centauri care about Jesus the Christ? No fallen angel, demon, hybrid, entity, extraterrestrial, or whatever can take authority, but they can infiltrate our realm of authority and make or have children or offspring human enough to take some authority. God didn't create them. He never intended them to be. These are unsanctioned entities, and they infiltrate instead of invade. I need a drink of water. They're creating beings, have been all along, are still and will be creating beings to contaminate all of God's creation, mostly to try and gain enough humanity to gain enough authority to take over. But they're contaminating and blending everything. Men are becoming women. Women are becoming men. Children are becoming adults. Adults are becoming children. All the natural order of things is being altered by these beings. For one, their incursions and their infiltration into people in positions of power, they're not fully human. They intend to usurp the power and authority and to give it over to the Antichrist. Now Satan, like I said before, wants to be God, wants to take over. He can't because humankind has the authority here. So in Satan's mind, you see the question, what to do? Well, one thing you can do is start a breeding program down here to get human enough to take over. Now, thanks be to God, God will speed things up at the end. And I want you to go with me to the book of Matthew, chapter 24. We've been there before, but I want you to see it in this new light of what we've been teaching tonight. Show me a show of hands when you get there. Yes. We just taught some of this recently, where it says false Christs and false prophets are going to arise. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Just before that, in verse 21 of Matthew 24, it says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." And then it goes on to say, and start focusing in, "And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." Now you can pass right over that. But check this out. The word translated flesh is the Greek word sarx, S-A-R-X, to anglicize the spelling. And this meaning of flesh literally is that's born of natural generation. So with all this that's going on that we're talking about and teaching about now, God's going to speed things up. Because if He doesn't, no flesh born of natural generation will be saved. That's what Satan, amongst other things, is striving for. They tried this takeover before. They're doing it again. Big time. Going for broke. We need to understand, for example, that Nazism was not political, was not social, was not a form of government. It was a religion, an occultic religion, first and foremost. It was based on the Thule society that was supposed to be descended from the God-men. Nazism was birthed out of the occult. Let me read you something. Bell's going to be ringing. Nazi Aryan Thule. Nazi occultists believed in a historical Thule Hyperborea as the ancient origin of the Aryan race. It had close links, this race, to the, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei. That's what Nazi stands for. Okay? The Nazi Party. Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei. The Nazi Party. Vienna's author Wilhelm Dahm wrote, the Thule Gesellschaft name originated from mythical Thule, a Nordic equivalent of the vanished culture of Atlantis. A race of giant supermen lived in Thule, linked into the cosmos through magical powers. They had psychic and technological energies far exceeding the technical achievements of the 20th century. This knowledge was to be put to use to save the fatherland and to create a new race of Nordic Aryan Atlanteans. A new Messiah would come forward to lead the people to this goal. Hitler. And in our future, Antichrist. These Nazis were in contact with supernatural entities. Guess who? These entities dictated blueprints through mediums and through demons about flying saucers, flying craft. These were working blueprints, and the Nazis ran with it. They, the Nazis, also were trying to create supermen to dominate the world. And after all the teaching this and last week, we're going to learn what they're doing now and how they're doing it next week. And that's my message. And it's offering time. Well, the band's taking their places. We're going to just announce that the song that you're about to hear is another homegrown song written by our lyricist and our daughter and guitar player, Maeva. So listen to the words and enjoy it.
You gotta stop, have faith in the Lord, you gotta stop. Sing praise to the Lord, you gotta drop. Pray to the Lord, stop what you're doing. what you doing and pray.
Homegrown out of the teaching. I want to give a homework assignment because next week it's really going to get heavy and creepy and alarming and startling. So I want you to review last week's message and this week's message, both. I don't give homework assignments often. This is important. It's of utmost importance. And when we're through with this series, we can dispense with that and get back to what's going to get us through, which is faith, faith, faith. So keep on walking in faith.
Well, I searched and I searched for a road that led to glory. I wondered if I'd ever find my way. I was so dismayed, for the road it seemed so lonely. But then I heard a voice within me say, "You've got to keep on walking, keep right on walking, walking in the light of the Lord. You'll get to heaven someday, you can only get in the faith way, walking in the light of the Lord." Well, I prayed and I prayed, and the Lord He gave me mercy. I prayed and He brightened up my way. I sat down to rest, for my feet had grown so weary. But then I heard a voice within me say, "You've got to keep on walking, keep right on walking, walking in the light of the Lord. You'll get to heaven someday, can only get in the faith way, walking in the light of the Lord. You've got to keep on walking, keep right on walking, walking in the light of the Lord. You'll get to heaven someday, can only get in the faith way, walking in the light of the Lord, walking in the light of the Lord, walking in the light